Most of the night and all of the day, all kinds of music continuously played. From a tiny house on a very small block, Lily Nasturtium's walls did rock. With Angelique the cat and Aaron the dog, this is the story of their winter frog. Lily played guitar in a rock and roll group called Monograss Skirt and the Hula Hoops. It was the month of December with a big party to play, so Lily and her friends were practicing hard every day. Aaron drummed his tail on the hardwood floor. Angelique purred loudly in the chair by the door. Lily and Mona, Jack and Marty practiced their songs for Friday night's party, practicing carefully and practicing long until not a single note came out wrong. All of their hard work paid off at last, and Friday night's party was one happy bash. People danced in the kitchen, the living room and hall. They danced in the bathroom and the shower stall. They danced on the front lawn. They danced in the street. There was every kind of person there you could hope to meet. Young folks and old folks of every hue, from little to big, all danced like they do. At the end of the night, the band packed their gear, tired but happy and filled with good cheer. On the way home, Lily stopped by the store with a list of things she'd come in for. There was milk and bread and good things to eat for her and for Aaron and Angelique. Then in the frozen food aisle, what did she see? A tiny live evergreen tree. It was an Italian stone pine just 3 feet high, in a barrel of dirt with a white bow tie. A holiday special and not on her list, but something in Lily just could not resist. So she bought the stone pine and carried it home with the milk and the bread and Aaron's dog bone. Angie and Aaron both sniffed at the tree and were as happy can be. So Lily stoked up a fire and gave Aaron his treat, and she and Angie had something to eat. Then they festooned the tree with small wooden beasts, a lion, a horse, and a rabbit with big rabbit feet, and just a handful of small twinkling lights that danced in the silence of the dark winter night. Satisfied and sleepy, they all went to bed, as sweet rockers' lullabies played in their heads. In its warm corner, the little tree sat, but someone deep inside it was taking a nap. Not a rock and roll player, a cat or a dog, but the sweetest and nicest hibernating tree frog. Beneath the branches and under some dirt, sleeping quite deeply, was a tree frog named Gert. Gert had been born on a commercial tree farm where winters were frosty but summers were warm. One evening while she was out looking for dinner, a chill in the air made Gert start to shiver. So like frogs before her since days of old, Gert wiggled into some dirt to be safe from the cold. She slowed down her breathing and heartbeat too, and retreated to sleep to await the spring dew. While Gert snoozed away deep in her nest, Mr. Tree Farm Guy came by in his thick quilted vest. The tree with its bucket and Gert still inside, he loaded onto a truck for a very long ride. All through the thumping, twist turns and jolts, poor unsuspecting Gert never awoke. Her tree arrived in the store to be put up for sale in the frozen food section, $19 retail. And that's where Lily saw it and couldn't resist, bringing it home to her house, heated warm as a kiss. Now as the temperature rose, Gert finally stirred, thinking surely beloved spring had occurred. But as she dug through the dirt and peered at the sky, something unusual greeted her eyes. The stars she remembered as far distant lights were now so close they nearly blinded her sight. And that was not the only thing Gert could find strange. A sort of sun glowed on the horizon at a very close range. Gert sat thinking quietly, hugging her tree, wondering just how strange this new spring could be. Gert ate a house spider who passed by her branch, then watched the odd sun fade into a smoldering dance. Daylight had come and the household arose. Lily put on the coffee and pulled on her clothes. Angelique and Aaron went out for a stroll. Everyone went about their usual roles. Come evening, Lily settled down near the tree with her favorite guitar perched on her knee. She began a song she had on her mind. Gert was now wide awake by this time. She peeked through the pine needles at the human she saw, and the cat, and the dog with his big canine jaws. But something in the melody that Lily sang moved little Gert, and out her voice rang. Lily and Aaron and Angelique stopped right then and there in complete disbelief. They crept close and stared at the decorous pine. So Gert sang out again, even louder this time. Well, Lily knew a tree frog when a tree frog she heard, and realized poor Gert had taken a surprise ride in the dirt. "Hello," said Lily, but her human voice made no sense. Still Gert sang out again with great insistence. What Gert was saying, hoping someone was near, was, "Am I the only tree frog here?" Lily tried Gert's chirp, but it came out so bad that everyone couldn't help but have a good laugh. Gert chirped again, so lonely she felt. Lily turned to Aaron and Angie for a little help. Although Aaron spoke a bit of cat and Angelique a little dog, neither of them knew a single word in tree frog. Lily began to think on this problem thing. How to tell our guests that it's not yet spring. So Lily decided to call up the band and to pull together every resource they had. She asked Mona to capture and bring over some flies. Mona said sure, but she was definitely wondering why. To Marty and Jack she asked, "Bring your books, please, on frogs and their habits, their diet and needs." So over they ran, Mona, Marty, and Jack, carrying flies in jars and books on their backs. They sat in a circle around the small tree, opened the books, and sat down to read. Every now and then Gert let out a small chirp, and they wished they could ask if she was lonely, scared, or hurt. Each of them tried to imitate Gert, but their attempts at tree frog went from bad to just worse. But something deep in Gert's tiny frog heart knew they were trying to help, and well, at least that's a start. Gert needed the outdoors to be a happy tree frog. She spoke no human, no cat or dog. She was an amphibian who needed conditions just so, and any place too cold, Gert just couldn't go. Yet Lily lived by the coast near oak trees so tall, and the weather there really wasn't that harsh at all. Yes, it was colder than April, June, or August, but even at night there hadn't been frost. And the book said that tree frogs live far and wide, so Lily and her friends took Gert's tree outside. Gert's spirit rose as she felt the fresh air, finally up in the sky, the real sun there. It was then that Gert realized she had awoken too early, and why Lily and her friends had all looked so worried. So with one last chirp, Gert settled down to hibernate until the next spring came around. And in the spring, the hula hoops and the whole rockin' crowd were down in the yard singing out loud. But now with her offspring, our great tree frog Gert jams in the evenings with Mona Grass Skirt. And Lily, Angie, Marty, Aaron, and Jack, each spring they welcome their good friend Gert back.